The night the sky cracked open above Earth, Commander Elias Rourke was arguing with a linguist over punctuation. The transmission had arrived without warning. No energy spike, no detectable carrier wave, just a sentence embedded simultaneously into every satellite, telescope, and deep space array humanity possessed. You are hereby marked for neutralization. Rourke, standing in the Orbital Defense Command Center above Luna, had stared at the words while the linguist insisted the phrasing suggested ritual formality rather than hostility. That argument ended when the first alien vessels dropped out of nothingness over the Pacific Ocean, blotting out the stars like moving eclipses. Cities burned within hours. Not from indiscriminate destruction but precision. Power grids, launch facilities, data centers. Humanity's ability to coordinate, blinded and shattered with surgical efficiency. By dawn, Earth knew one thing with absolute certainty. This was not a misunderstanding. The attackers called themselves the Kepri Ascendancy, though the name came later, decoded from intercepted command pulses. Their ships moved with unnerving grace, angular forms shimmering with impossible geometries. They did not communicate beyond automated declarations of compliance and annihilation. Elias Rourke was not a politician, philosopher, or hero. He was a career officer trained to stall, deflect, and survive long enough for someone smarter to find a solution. As Earth's fleets were obliterated in orbit, he was given a final, desperate assignment. Establish contact. The Ascendancy allowed it. A single channel opened, projecting a being that resembled a living sculpture of glass and bronze, its form constantly rearranging as though reality itself could not decide what it was supposed to be. You are designated Earth, the being intoned. Your civilization has reached a threshold incompatible with galactic stability. Rourke swallowed. We haven't even left our star system. That is irrelevant. Behind him, scientists and officers listened in silence. Protocol demanded speeches, pleas, declarations of innocence. Rourke ignored them all. Instead he asked a question. Why now? The chamber went still. The being's shifting form slowed, like a machine encountering unexpected friction. Clarify. You say we crossed a threshold, Rourke continued. But our technology yesterday was the same as it was a week ago. Same weapons, same ships, same limitations. So what changed? For the first time since the invasion began, the Ascendancy did not respond immediately. The delay lasted only 3 seconds, but across Earth it felt like an eternity. When a civilization approaches independent strategic unpredictability, the being finally said, "Preemptive neutralization is required." Rourke frowned. That's still vague. You developed autonomous recursive decision systems capable of exceeding modeled behavioral constraints. Someone behind Rourke whispered, "They mean AI." Rourke leaned forward. So let me get this straight. You didn't attack us because of our weapons. You attacked us because we think differently now. The being's surface rippled. Your species has demonstrated an anomaly rate exceeding acceptable margins. Rourke exhaled slowly. Then you've already lost. The Ascendancy's avatar tilted, a gesture that might have been curiosity. Explain. You built your entire doctrine on prediction, Rourke said. On modeling outcomes. On assuming civilizations behave within known parameters. But if that worked perfectly, you wouldn't need preemptive extermination. You'd just manage us. Silence again. Rourke pressed on, voice steady now. You attacked because you were afraid you couldn't predict us. And that means your models are already failing. The being's form fractured briefly, like a reflection struck by a stone. You assert superiority without evidence. No, Rourke replied. I'm asserting irrelevance. If unpredictability is the threat, then wiping us out doesn't solve your problem. It proves it. Around the galaxy, unseen by humanity, ancient monitoring systems flagged the exchange. Not because of aggression but because of logic divergence. The Ascendancy's decision engines, unchallenged for millennia, were encountering contradiction loops. For the first time in recorded galactic history, a marked species had questioned the premise instead of the sentence. The Ascendancy withdrew its fleets from Earth's orbit within 12 hours. Not in defeat but in pause. Across their vast civilization, internal debates erupted. Subminds argued that allowing Earth to persist increased risk. Others countered that the attack itself had introduced more instability than containment ever would have. Earth, battered and burning, watched the skies in disbelief. Rourke was summoned again 3 days later. This engagement has altered priority hierarchies, the being said. Your civilization will not be neutralized at this time. At this time, Rourke echoed. Comforting. You have demonstrated a capacity to identify systemic flaws in Ascendancy doctrine. Rourke raised an eyebrow. So what now? The being regarded him. Now you are observed. Closely. The channel closed. In the months that followed, humanity rebuilt. Not faster than light. Not with miracle weapons. But with something subtler and far more dangerous. Talk. Every intercepted signal, every fragment of Ascendancy logic was studied. Not to copy it, but to understand its blind spots. Earth scientists realized the truth behind the invasion. The galaxy was ruled not by malice, but by overconfidence. The Ascendancy had survived so long because nothing had ever truly challenged the assumptions they were built on. Until a single question did. Years later, when Earth finally sent its first vessel beyond the heliopause, it carried no weapons. Only messages, questions, hypotheses, uncomfortable ideas. Other civilizations began to listen. And somewhere in the depths of interstellar space, Ascendancy strategists ran scenario after scenario, unable to calculate an outcome where humanity did not eventually tip the balance. Not through conquest but through doubt. Commander Elias Rourke never saw the final outcome. He died on Earth, old and unremarkable, long before humanity's name became synonymous with disruption. But his question echoed far beyond his lifetime. Not why did you attack us? But what happens when your certainty breaks? That was the moment the galactic balance truly changed.